Have you ever felt like someone in your life just doesn't value you the way they used to? Maybe a friend, a partner, or even a colleague who once appreciated you, but now it feels like you're invisible. You try harder, you give more, yet nothing changes. Sound familiar? Well, what if I told you there's a simple yet powerful trick that can shift everything? Not by forcing them to change, but by changing one small thing in you. Stick with me, because what happens next might surprise you. The hard truth. Here's the reality. When someone stops valuing you, it's not because you suddenly lost your worth. It's because they've grown comfortable with your presence. They assume you'll always be there, no matter how they treat you. And the more you chase their validation, the less they feel the need to appreciate you. It's human nature. We tend to take for granted what we believe will never leave. The mistake most people make. When someone starts to devalue you, the natural response is often panic. You ask yourself, did I do something wrong? Did I change? Why don't they see my worth anymore? This internal doubt leads to one of two reactions. You try harder. You become more available, say yes to things you don't want to do, and go out of your way to remind them why you matter. You think, if I just give more, they'll appreciate me again. But instead they pull away even further. You demand recognition. You get frustrated, start arguments, or confront them, saying things like, why don't you appreciate me? Or, I always do so much for you, and you don't even notice. But rather than making them realize your worth, this often pushes them further away. The harsh truth, the more you try to convince someone to value you, the less they will. Think about it. When something is rare and valuable, does it beg for attention? No. It just is valuable. It doesn't chase. It doesn't prove itself. It simply exists, and people recognize its worth. But when you overextend yourself, you send the opposite message. You tell them, I need you to validate me. And that energy, it's unattractive. It makes them feel like they have the upper hand, and people tend to take for granted what they think they can always have. The key mistake? Believing that their lack of appreciation means you need to do more. But in reality, it's a sign that you need to do less. Not in effort, but an emotional investment. And that brings us to the simple but powerful shift you need to make. A simple trick that changes everything. So what's the trick? It's simple. Pull back your energy. But let's be clear. This isn't about playing games, manipulating someone, or pretending you don't care. It's about something much deeper, self-respect. When someone stops valuing you, your first instinct might be to fight for their attention. But what if, instead of fighting, you simply stop giving them so much access to you? What if, instead of chasing, you redirected that energy back into yourself? Here's how you do it. Stop initiating as much. If you're the one always reaching out, slow down. See what happens when you stop being the first to text, call, or make plans. Do they notice? Do they put in effort? If not, that tells you something important. Limit your availability. If you're always there for someone, they start assuming you always will be. Start prioritizing yourself, your time, your goals, your peace. If they message you, don't always respond instantly. If they invite you somewhere, don't always say yes. This isn't about being rude, it's about showing that your time is valuable. Pull back emotionally. Sometimes we don't realize how much energy we're giving away. If you're constantly thinking about them, worrying about their opinion, or seeking their approval, pause. Start shifting that focus inward. Ask yourself, what do I want? How do I feel? Focus on your own life. The more you pour into yourself, your passions, your friendships, your self-improvement, the less power this person has over you. When they see that you're thriving without their validation, their perception of you shifts. Why this works? When you pull back, people feel the change. They start to wonder, why aren't they chasing me anymore? Did I take them for granted? Are they moving on? This creates a psychological shift. Humans value what they fear losing. When they sense that your energy isn't guaranteed, they start paying attention. And the best part, this isn't just about them, it's about you. Because when you stop overgiving and start valuing yourself, you begin to attract people who naturally appreciate you. People who don't need to lose you to realize your worth. The trick isn't about making someone come back. It's about making sure you never feel the need to beg for someone's attention again. And when you master this, everything changes. Why this works like magic. So why does pulling back your energy work so powerfully? Because it shifts the dynamic entirely. Right now, if someone isn't valuing you, it's because they assume you'll always be there. They've gotten comfortable with your presence, maybe even taken it for granted. But when you step back even slightly, it triggers a powerful psychological response. Scarcity. The power of scarcity. Scarcity is one of the strongest psychological motivators. Think about it. Why do people desire rare items? Why do we suddenly want something when it's almost sold out? Because we fear losing something we thought was always available. Now, apply this to relationships. The moment someone senses that you are no longer guaranteed, they start to reevaluate. They start asking themselves, wait, why aren't they reaching out like before? Have I been taking them for granted? Are they losing interest in me? What if they move on? This creates a shift in their mindset. What they once overlooked now becomes important. What they once assumed was always there now feels like something they could lose. The unexpected effect of pulling back. But here's where it gets even more interesting. When you pull back your energy, not in anger, not as a game, but from a place of self-respect, something unexpected happens. They start chasing you. When someone feels like they're losing something valuable, their instinct is to try and reclaim it. They may start putting in effort, checking in more, or even apologizing for not appreciating you before. They see you differently. Instead of seeing you as someone who's always there, they start seeing you as someone who chooses to be there. And that's a powerful difference. They adjust their behavior. People treat you based on the standards you set. When they see that you're no longer overgiving or tolerating neglect, they start acting differently because they know they have to if they want to keep you in their life. You start feeling more in control. The most surprising thing about this trick, it changes you more than it changes them. When you stop seeking external validation and start prioritizing yourself, you feel stronger, more independent, more in control of your emotions and energy. This is about your self-worth. The true power of this trick isn't in winning someone back. It's in reclaiming your self-worth. When you stop over-investing in someone who isn't valuing you, you send yourself a powerful message. I am valuable, I am worthy, and I do not need to beg for appreciation. And here's the beautiful part. When you embody this mindset, the right people will naturally be drawn to you because confidence, self-respect, and emotional independence are magnetic. So, if you're in a situation where someone isn't valuing you, remember this. You don't need to convince them. You don't need to argue. You don't need to chase. Just pull back, shift your energy inward, watch what happens. The shift in dynamic. Now that you've pulled back your energy, something interesting starts to happen. The entire dynamic between you and this person shifts. At first, they might not notice. They may continue acting the same way, assuming nothing has changed. But then, as days or weeks pass, they start to feel something different. What? They start noticing. Your absence feels unusual. The texts that used to come from you don't. The calls, the check-ins, the constant availability, gone. Even if you're still friendly, your energy isn't the same. And that's unsettling for them. They feel a loss of control. If they were used to you always trying, always giving, always proving yourself, they suddenly realize they aren't in control of your attention anymore. And that makes them start questioning things. They wonder what changed. When people sense a shift, they naturally start wondering why. Are they mad at me? Have they moved on? Did I do something wrong? These thoughts create a sense of urgency that wasn't there before. How they might react. This is where things get interesting. People react in different ways when they feel someone pulling away. Here are some common responses. They start reaching out more. Suddenly they're checking in, sending random messages or asking how you're doing, things they weren't doing before. They act confused or even defensive. If they're caught off guard, they might say things like, "You've been distant lately," or "Why are you acting different?" They try to reestablish the old dynamic. If they realize they've lost a sense of control, they might start doing things to pull you back in, offering compliments, showing more interest, or even apologizing for past behavior. What should you do? This is the most crucial part. When you notice their behavior changing, don't immediately jump back into old patterns. It's tempting to feel relieved and go back to giving your all, but remember, this only works if you maintain your sense of self-worth. If they reach out, respond, but don't overinvest. Keep things casual and balanced. Let them prove through consistent actions that they truly value you. If they seem confused, stay calm. You don't need to explain yourself or justify why you pulled back. Simply say, "I've just been focusing on myself more lately." That's it. If they try to pull you back in with small gestures, watch their consistency. Are they making a real effort or just reacting out of temporary fear? The new power dynamic. This is where you start to feel the shift in power. You're no longer the one seeking their validation. Instead, they are now thinking about how to keep you in their life. And this is what self-respect does. It naturally attracts appreciation. Because when you make yourself the priority, when you stop begging for attention, when you hold your value with quiet confidence, you stop needing to be chosen because you start choosing yourself. And that's when everything changes. What happens next? Now that you've pulled back and shifted your energy, you're going to start seeing one of two things happen, and both are revealing. Scenario one, they realize your value. If this person truly cares about you but had been taking you for granted, something powerful will happen. They'll step up. They'll start putting in effort. They'll reach out more often. They'll treat you with more respect. They'll make time for you without you having to ask. Why? Because your absence created contrast. Before, they were used to you being always available, always giving, always proving your worth. Now that you step back, they see what life feels like without your energy. And if they genuinely value you, they won't want to lose you. But here's the key. Pay attention to their consistency. Are they making a real, lasting change? Or is it just temporary effort to pull you back in? If they're serious about valuing you, their behavior won't just change for a week. It'll stay changed. Scenario two, they let you go. Now let's talk about the hard truth. Sometimes when you pull back, the other person doesn't fight for you. They don't check in. They don't make an effort. And I know that can sting. But here's why this is actually a gift. If someone doesn't even notice your absence, it proves how little they truly valued you. If they don't make an effort, it shows they were comfortable taking from you, but never willing to give. If they let you go that easily, they were never really yours to begin with. And yes, that can hurt, but it also frees you. It frees you from wasting energy on someone who was never meant to be in your life long term. It frees you from the cycle of chasing someone who doesn't see your worth. Because here's the truth. The right people will never need to be convinced to value you. Either way, no matter which scenario happens, you win. If they step up and appreciate you more, you've set a new standard for how you're treated. If they let you go, you've removed someone who never truly valued you, making space for people who will. Either way, you've reclaimed your power. You've shifted from seeking validation to owning your worth. And that's when the right people start gravitating toward you, not because you're chasing them, but because you become someone worth chasing. So the question is, are you ready for that kind of power? The power of self-worth. Now that you pull back, something incredible starts happening, not just with them, but with you. Because this whole process isn't just about making someone realize your value, it's about making sure you realize it first. What happens when you stop seeking validation? The moment you stop overgiving to people who don't appreciate you, your entire energy changes. You begin to move differently, you feel lighter, more confident, more at peace. And guess what? People notice. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop over-explaining or apologizing for your worth. You stop tolerating half-hearted effort from others. Your energy becomes magnetic. Here's the secret. When you know your worth, you naturally attract people who value you, because confidence and self-respect are magnetic. Think about the people you admire the most. Are they chasing others for validation? Or do they stand strong in who they are, knowing they deserve respect and appreciation? That's the energy you're stepping into now. You start attracting the right people. When you stop begging for love, attention, or recognition from the wrong people, you create space for the right people to enter your life. People who respect your time, people who appreciate your presence, people who don't need to lose you to realize your value. And most importantly, you start building a life where you are the priority, because at the end of the day, the person who should value you the most is you. A challenge for you. So here's my challenge. If you're feeling undervalued by someone right now, take a step back. Instead of giving more, give less. Instead of chasing them, chase your own growth. Watch what happens. See how they react. And more importantly, see how you feel when you reclaim your energy. At the end of the day, your worth isn't determined by how someone else treats you. It's determined by how you treat yourself. So if someone isn't valuing you anymore, try this simple trick. Step back, shift your focus, and watch what happens. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced this? What happened when you pulled away? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Stay strong, stay valuable. See you in the next one.